Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Today is Thursday, April 28th, nearly May. In the year 2022, a lot has happened since then. We are about the quarter, a little over the quarter amount or way through the year. A little bit of a quarter of a way through the year already. It seems like it was just January, right? Like, to me, that's what it feels like. To me, it feels like it was just January, and we had New Year's, new hopes for 2022, and then it became already April 28th, about to be May. Doesn't even seem like that at all. Like, summer is like technically like a little over a month away. Like, I know it's like, calendar, in terms of the calendar year, it's like June 20 something. But for me, and for most people who live in like a little bit of a hotter area, it might already start feeling like summer, or pretty close to it. I know that where I live, May is pretty hot. June is also hot. July and August, though, get really, really hot. And, just already thinking about those months coming up, it just feels like the year's going to go by yet again. So quick. So fast. But besides the weather and all that changing, I feel like I harken on that quite a bit, though. And in a lot of episodes. If I do that, if I continue to do that, I apologize. But I feel like it's just like a great starter whenever you listen to this episode. Because, it's pretty much current, I guess as current as possible. But moving on to some actual big news this week. Big news. Twitter now has a new daddy, or a new owner, or a new boss, however you want to chop it up. But that daddy is now Elon Musk. Buys the company for, I think, $44 billion to be, essentially own Twitter. Now, do I think that Elon Musk is his ownership is going to change Twitter all that much? In terms of people being banned, probably. For the most part, I mean, I think that it will. Depending on who is banned and who is not banned, and maybe if he, resurrects a couple accounts, or maybe, what if he starts censoring account? I don't know. We just don't know at this moment. It's still fresh. I'm happy that he did buy it, though. Just because I feel like he seems like he knows what's in the best interest of what comes down to as, just, I guess, free speech is the best way to put it. I know I don't like to get political on this podcast, but I just feel like he's more in line with having the most free speech as possible. Now, of course, that's going to be challenged, and that's going to be, put through the ringer as time goes on and what happens. I mean, that's just how it's going to go. Things are going to happen. There might be some scenarios where, maybe he's forced a hand to do something or not, or maybe he won't even do it. It all really depends on, like, how he continues to run Twitter. And I'm not even sure if he's going to be, like, directly running Twitter. I'm sure he'll hire some people to do it, and, him being just in the background, like, just being the owner of the company. Who knows? I've never really had a problem with myself in my use of Twitter, but, change is change. Change happens quick. That just happened. I remember, like, maybe a couple weeks ago, like, it wasn't really going to happen. It was, like, some people blocked it, I think, or, like, just, like, it stalled for a bit, maybe a week or two ago. I was like, okay, well, it's just not going to happen, maybe. Or if it does, it'll happen later. But it happened this week, a couple days ago, and I was like, all right, Elon, let's see what you do. Now, I was wondering, like, if I've been a user of Twitter for so many years, Elon, could I possibly get delivered a Tesla or a Tesla truck or a rocket? Just because I've been such a loyal user of Twitter, are you going to change the logo? It would be funny if like he changed like the logo from a little birdie to like a Tesla T, or maybe a new type of T for Twitter. Or what if he just changes the name of it altogether? That'd be kind of funny. It could be called like Tesla Media or like the Teslaverse, because we already got the Metaverse with Mark Zuck. Now we're going to get the Teslaverse with Elon Musk. I don't know. Maybe that's in the cards. Maybe that's in the future. I don't know. Who knows? I kind of would like a name change, though, to be honest with you. Twitter, I think that it's just it's a fun name. It's a simple name. It's easy. You automatically know what it means and what it does. But it's gotten such a bad rap, such a kind of bad reputation of what it is and what it's been known for. And, just being put out in a bad light, I guess. Maybe you should change it. Maybe it should be called something else. I'm all for Teslaverse. I mean, you could also call it the Tesla Network. I don't know. Something creative that you have people, or maybe you even created, Elon, to change it. Make it better, hopefully, or you could take a nosedive and just make it the worst place ever. I mean, I would have been happy if you deleted it, to be honest with you. It would have been, fine with me, but, I get it. A lot of people use it. It's a big investment, too, and I hope nothing but the best for the Elon Musk run Twitter. I think it's going to be super cool, super interesting. I mean, if you think about it, Twitter and Elon Musk go hand in hand together like milk and cookies. They're perfect for each other because he's kind of like one of the biggest, most popular trolls out there. From his pokes at Bill Gates, his memes, making fun of the people that ran Twitter before. Like, it's absolutely like his kingdom. I mean, I would say like he has had some of the most popular tweets within the last maybe 5 years. Just his tweets have been so popular, so funny, but also got a bit of reality to it. Got a bit of of like, this is how it is, and this is how I see it, and this is how most people see it. Whether it be like an internet meme, a sensation of something, celebrity stuff, or something in the business world that caught his eye, that he was maybe a part of, or even SpaceX. He kills it on Twitter. The guy actually uses Twitter and gets a lot of interaction with it. Maybe sparks some debates, maybe interacts with people on Twitter in some of the most funniest ways you can possibly see anybody interact with somebody on Twitter. So I think that it's a perfect marriage. I truly do. Like, in terms of his tweets and him owning the platform, I mean, it's incredible. Now, I don't know that everybody's going to love it. I'm sure some people hate it, but I think after a while, they'll be like, it's kind of mostly the same. Like, I don't think that there's going to be that many changes, aside from like the less censorships and the less banning and maybe even shadow banning at this point. I honestly doubt that there's not going to be that much that's different. And of course, like, this is just my opinion, like a couple days after he bought it. So, things can change, and things can, either get better or worse. I don't know, but I just know for a fact that, in our nature as people, whatever I say right now, that truly I don't think is even all that, I guess, controversial. It's going to get picked up somewhere. Like, this guy said this when that never happened. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, I'm just living life in the moment. I'm not some kind of time traveler where I go into the future and, say things, or I know what's going to happen, or that I should know what happens before I speak. I mean, this is all just in the moment. How am I supposed to know that? How would I ever know that? I mean, but it's all right. It's fine. I think it's just like people gotta, it's like, you said this. It's like, yeah, I did. What's the problem? Like, I thought that was gonna happen. It didn't happen. It's like having a bad take on in like a sport, or in sports. Like, these guys are gonna do great. This guy's gonna destroy that team. They're gonna annihilate them. They're gonna win the championship, and then they, do nothing. And then you got my one of my favorite accounts on Twitter, Freezing Cold Takes. Shout out. I think that's usually the funniest times is during sports, but when it's about something serious, I mean, like, who does that help? Does that really help anybody? Does that make you feel better? And if it does, why? I don't know. That's just it all boils down to look at how wrong this guy was. Let me amplify to make it seem that he's get more eyes on him, so everybody can see how wrong this guy was. And again, like with sports, it's different. It's more fun that way. But if it's something serious, it's like, who are you helping? I mean, like, you're going to get people that are on your side and are against you. So either way, like, it's not really a win situation, like a fully win-win situation. There's going to be a little bit of a win-loss. So it's like, I mean, who does that really benefit? Anyway, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. I hope that happens to other platforms as well. Like, it probably will never happen to Facebook and Instagram because they're owned by Zuck, and Zuck is the almighty, powerful god of the metaverse that, is probably never going to go away or never sell, even if Elon or somebody could match it or even, exceed that, that amount that is, needed to buy that platform. I doubt that he would sell it. I mean, Zuck is like, he's a real person, actually. But he's like, he loves what he does so much, and he cares about meta so much. I don't see him in any way, shape, or form like giving away Meta or Facebook or Instagram ever. It's just his baby. That's like his sole purpose. Like, God created humans, Zuck created Meta or Facebook back in the day. And you know what? People said that God created us in His vision. He's creating Meta in His vision. It's just, that's how it's gonna go down. That's just what's gonna happen. But I don't also see like another social media platform coming in anytime soon either. Like, I kind of would hope that one would pop up again. That would be fun enough to join and, not take anything so seriously. But that's just kind of like not the point of social media anymore. It's like no longer about having fun. It's about being right and having this many people think that you are right, or this many people that are on your side because they think that you're right. That's really all it is now. Is who posts the thing that is the most right? Who's more correct than the other? Is it me, my friend, this guy from Minnesota, this guy from Europe? Like, who's more right, and who can get the most attraction and the most online agreement that they feel like they've done something and that they've conquered something and they've done something and they feel like they've made a difference? That's what it is now. It's no longer about having fun. Remember when you used to have fun with it? When you would say like, "Yo, me and the boys gonna go chill. Me and the homies gonna go, out to eat, and then we're gonna go watch a movie, and then we're gonna hang out after that." Like, that no longer is a part of the social media ethos. That's probably not even used right, but couldn't find another word to use it. But it's no longer fun. It hasn't been fun for a while. Sure, there's, Instagram probably is more fun than I would say Facebook and Twitter. But I remember when Facebook and Twitter and Instagram were all fun at the same time. Like, that was fun back then. And I wasn't around for MySpace. I mean, I was alive, but I didn't have MySpace. But I heard that was fun too. But now it's just like no longer as fun as it used to be. And that's also how you define fun. You can define fun as trolling or as posting, stuff that you believe is true to get a following. You could do a trend but I feel like that's more for TikTok and all that. I wouldn't say that that's more for Twitter. TikTok, you have more fun on that, but Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those aren't for fun anymore. It's just that the fun has been dried out of those. Well, Instagram is still kind of fun, but Twitter and Facebook, nope, gone, destroyed, reduced to atoms. But yeah, I thought that I would see a new social media platform, but it never really came. I mean, Pinterest was kind of a thing, but I never knew how to use it. And when I saw how people use it, I'm like, oh, I definitely don't want to use this. This looks too complicated for my ass. And then that there was Snapchat was a thing. I still have it, but I don't use it at all, really. I might send a buddy like a quick little thing that's like kind of like what we're talking about in the moment or something, but like is like, if you want to feel like it's more intimate, I feel like Snapchat has like an intimate feeling. This is important. You better watch it because you only got this many seconds to watch it and consume it. Now you can put it for an infinity amount of time, but sometimes people don't do that. Or when you do get it, you don't know that person set it for infinity. So you got to be careful when you open it, and when you open it, you got to be ready to see it. I feel like that's kind of like what made Snapchat special back in the day. But then, of course, they had like they just went fucking ad crazy and just put ads and stuff and other accounts and all that, and just kind of made it just ad central. I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of done with this. Like, it just that's what it feels like to me. And Instagram tried that to make it more intimate like Snapchat, but I honestly never use Instagram direct Snapchat style messages. I know I'm trying to stop using Snapchat altogether because I just don't like the app, but it still just is a part of my life, I guess. Even though I barely use it. If it's something like I want this guy to see something and I want to get an instant reaction, Snapchat's probably the best way to go. Even more so than text messages, which is weird to think, but it kind of is. Might be just for me. It might not be that way for you. I don't know, but that's just kind of how I see it. And I don't know if that will ever change either. I know less and less people use Snapchat, and I know that it's no longer as popular as it used to be, but if only we would get a new platform. And what would it even be? Would it be on the phone still? Or would it be like in your brain? Like a chip or something? I mean, Elon Musk does want to make Neuralink, which is essentially a chip inside your head. And I feel like once that happens, I mean, you could never, ever hide from anything ever again. Unless you, dig inside your brain and rip out that chip. Unless you off yourself. But it's like you're going to be found either way because that chip's probably going to be able to track you even if you off yourself. So, that's going to be insane. Just imagine that. Imagine, that chip in the future. Give it maybe about 50 years, 60 years in the future. That chip will emit a heads-up display that you can see only because it has access to that part of your brain that allows you to see, and it's showing you a heads-up display of your hydration meter, your food meter, your sleep meter, your general health meter, all in a little built-in heads-up display that you don't need no helmet in or a visor or a device to hook up to. It's already implanted in your brain. That could be a thing in the future. Imagine if you played Halo, right? Halo, the Master Chief, has a HUD built into his helmet. Just imagine, that chip's already in your head. It's already manipulating your brain and helping out that part of your brain to already, emit it into your brain, and that you actually see something like that monitors all that stuff. That would be insane. That would be crazy. That'd be cyborg shit. You would be a cyborg then. I mean, it would be fun. It sounds fun. But then again, it's well, you now you can essentially somebody could read your mind to know if you're doing anything bad or thinking of bad things. And that to me is terrifying. To just think about that, like that would just be like, okay, I can no longer think. I take away my ability to think, because if I think of something terrible or something bad or something that's not correct, I could be destroyed. People could monitor it like they already monitor your phones or monitor your computers or whatever. It'll just be your mind. Like, you think to yourself like, oh man, I want to punch my boss in the face. You think that, and then you get arrested the next day. Like you thought you wanted to punch your boss. You are now being detained and arrested. And they'll read you your Miranda rights, not even through speaking like I am right now, just like through your mind to his mind to your mind, the cop's mind to your mind, because everybody's going to be chipped, and depending on the model of the chip, like I could, maybe I have to actually physically speak, while somebody else doesn't have to speak at all. They just, project what they're saying through their mind to your mind telepathically through the chip. I mean, that's probably within the next 100 years at that point, in terms of like, telekinesis abilities, but with a chip. I mean, that's insane. That's something that I don't think any human being or any person on this planet ever thought could be possible. Think about it. Prosthetics today, like a prosthetic arm, prosthetic leg, usually, even in modern day prosthetics, pretty clunky, right? Pretty clunky, a little clumsy, not fully there yet, or like, sci-fi movie type things. We're talking about a prosthetic for your brain, to aid your brain. Now, hopefully, like, this isn't just for people, or even might be just for people with like brain damage or stuff like that, where they got into a major accident and they no longer can like walk or something like that, or now they can't speak or something like that. And it's now like being used, sold nationwide. Anybody who can afford it or anybody who wants it. We would have to like rewrite some laws and stuff like that, because the laws would be so outdated in terms of privacy, in terms of ethics. I mean, it would all have to change, because we would have never had to deal with something like this. And it actually is frankly kind of scary, but also exciting, right? I mean, I think that science and discovery is both exciting and scary. Think about it. Like, I kind of want to bring it back to, like, I guess, aliens. Like, it would be incredibly, incredibly scary to know that another being has been watching us from another planet or even another dimension. But at the same time, it's like, that's incredible, because now we know that we're not the only species of life out in the cosmos. There's something else out there that has maybe tried to communicate with us, or maybe tried to interact with us, but we have not been able to, or maybe they have not been able to. It's crazy to think about. Crazy, exciting, but also scary. Right? Like, I think when humanity first made the atomic bomb, right? They probably thought that this is going to solve the problem that we have right now. Like we're in a problem right now. Like, we have a problem, right? There's this country that we're at war with that's not going to give up, and we don't want to keep throwing our own people at them in terms of fighting a war, because it's going to cost so many more lives of ours. What do we do? How do we stop this? Because we know that they're not going to surrender. They've proven that time and time again. That's not like what they're going to do. They're like, okay, well, why don't we just make a bigger bomb? Like, that's probably what those guys thought in the Manhattan Project. Like, we just got to make a bigger bomb. That way they'll stop. And, that'll stop them from doing that. And I'm pretty sure, like, that's what they thought when that was going to happen. Like, we have this problem right now. We got to get it to stop. Let's make a gigantic bomb, and then we'll take care of the problem. Well, they did that, And it worked, right? Japan surrendered because Americans blew up 2 Japanese cities, just like disintegrated them, right? Horrific, horrific, horrific things. I've said this before, that the nuclear bomb is like the worst thing that we've ever made. The worst thing. It kills people and it kills the planet. And now it's like that's the scary part, is how it can destroy literally the planet. Earth as we know it could be destroyed by so many of these bombs and set back centuries, millions of years of radiation and not being habitable. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like the beauty in humans discovering that power is incredible, but what it can do, absolutely terrifying. And I wish, we never did that. I wish that we never did that, because it's just terrible. Incredible that we had the brain power and the knowledge to make that, but I wish we hadn't made that. I wish we had converted that energy into something else, like something that could be useful instead of bombing countries so that they would stop a war. Right? We wish that would never ever be the case of making that thing, or using that much energy in that one thing to kill people. Like, that's just not what we want to do. Not something that I think anybody would want to do. Like, imagine if we took that energy and made it into like a new hybrid type of fuel between gas and nuclear energy that could sustain the planet for a millennia. Even more than what fossil fuels and oil do now. Even more. What if we did that and put all that time and effort into making like a new way of propulsion, right? A new way to move aircraft through the air. Anti-gravity. That would be sick. That would be awesome. If we put all that brain power and just made it so, us as a society would be able to prosper and achieve greater things that we could have ever imagined, instead of making just bigger and bigger bombs, right? And the bombs today are so much bigger than what they were back in the 1940s. So much bigger than in 1945. And that's the part that scares me. And not just like with just bombs and all that, but like technological advances in general. Like how small or how thin can we make our phones, to the point where it's like, oh my God, like I think we're too thin here, guys. I remember like the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, all those phones, those phones were super, super thin. And they were made of aluminum. But that design wasn't the best because it was so thin in certain areas, and like you didn't have a lot of parts in certain areas, that they would bend in your pocket. If you actually sat at a in such a way that your pants would tighten up on your leg, your phone would bend and actually warp it, and like a noticeable bend. I always thought that was so bizarre. Like, how could Apple design that type of design and expect it to be okay? And then they had to make announcements that we are aware of the bend, and that the next model is going to have a stronger metal and all that, and that way it won't bend. And people were fucking bending phones on the social media and on YouTube and getting millions and millions of views and all that. And it's like, that was just like exploiting an error in a design. And that had to have hurt Apple so much, right? Like, they should have been, they probably were like so embarrassed when so many people and so many channels were spawned off of that, the Bendgate from those Apple 6s. I remember like one of the worst YouTube channels of all time was this guy who broke phones, and that was his content. Just buying phones or getting sent phones and breaking them in practical ways, how you would actually break your phone, But then it got to the point where it's like, how long could this iPhone withstand a flamethrower before it would be unusable? I mean, the answer is not very long. You don't even need to watch the video. I'll save you time. Not very long. Right? Or it's like, how many times before I absolutely disintegrate this phone? How many times do I have to bang on this iPhone for it to be, dust? It's like, who would watch that? Like, who's that for? Like, people just want to see phones being smashed? And it's like, what's the point in all this? You were spawned off of a flaw in phone design, and you started off pretty well, pretty like in the nature of like, could this happen to your phone? What's the bending not capacity, but the max you can bend your phone before it actually starts to warp and actually bend the actual phone? Like how much pressure can you put on your phone before it actually bends? I remember those videos. And channels being spawned because of those dumb videos. And, just always thought that, like, wow, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Especially, in I guess what I was going to say was, speaking of what a time to be alive, this made some big news. And not just because of, who it is and who it's about, but just like how easy it is nowadays. It's this lady called Behad Behaby. She was the Catch Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil, like, 5 years ago? Maybe more, I'm not sure. She made an OnlyFans and made like $50 million off of it. And I was just like, I can't believe this. How does one person, and this is all within a year, how does one lady make $50 million on OnlyFans, which, if you don't know, by the way, is essentially a porn site. And she showed like no nudity. She made $50 million off of clothed pics, I guess. I don't know. Maybe fully clothed. Bikini, probably. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, how do you spend that much of your own money that you've earned on that? It's essentially like a glamour. It's just like a monetized Instagram or a monetized Twitter. Like, $50 million? And that all kind of happened like, it all started to pick up again. Like, I think it was maybe a couple weeks ago, she bought like a house for $6 million in cash. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot she made like OnlyFans. Yeah, that's true. But then this week, she said that she posted on like Instagram that, that she made $50 million. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, ladies, you don't even have to show anything now. You can just do what she does. You'll make $50 million. Like, if that's a playbook to replicate your business strategy, that's the one. That Behad Behaby is the one to model your OnlyFans career. Like, I don't want to hear anything about a girl being broke ever again, because she is not showing anything but making $50 million. Now, that's incredible. It hurts me. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I cannot believe how many people would have given her money. A total of $50 million. Now, this was over a year, so it wasn't like, a couple days. That would be insane. But even at that, it's like, how could you give your money to this lady? I guess she does more things too. Like, I've heard that she's a rapper and makes music, but I still don't think that it's that day. She's not like popular in rap, right? Like, I feel like that I've never heard a single song of hers. Now, granted, I don't listen to the radio or listen to the music of today. I'm pretty old fashioned, I guess. I was gonna say old school, but I think I'm a little bit older than that. I'm old fashioned in terms of music. Well, not even that. I just listen to stupid ass music, nerdy music, older music. I just have a bad taste in music. Whatever is like sounds good. I'll listen to it, and I could care less about lyrics, honestly. I just like beats and rhythms and harmonies and symphonies and crescendos and all that. I like stuff that sounds cool, fun, epic, stuff like that. But yeah, Bad Baby. I know it's called Bad Baby. I just hate the way that it's spelled. Bad Baby, Bad Baby. I feel like that's a little bit of disrespect, but I don't totally like respect her character. I respect the hustle. That's great. 50 mil, yeah. $6 million house in cash. Booyah, baller. But yeah, you do you. And ladies, if you want to take advice, well, actually, don't take any of my advice that I've ever said. But it sounds like you can just do what she did. Sounds like it, and make a ton of money. I guess you have to kind of have like a viral video first, like be on Dr. Phil and disrespect your mother. So maybe try to audition for Dr. Phil and do that. I'm sure like he'll be happy to do it because his show would get more recognition. Dr. Phil even a doctor, or is he just an actor? I've never really knew the truth to that. Like I've always kind of thought that he was a doctor, or he had some kind of psychological background or physiological background or whatever the hell he's even a doctor of. But at the same time, he's an entertainer. Like he's been on shows and podcasts and stuff like that, and he does his his TV show. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could shoot for the Bad Baby dream or Bad Baby dream, and then I guess model yourself off of her if you don't want to show too much skin. Because I'm pretty sure like a lot of ladies still have don't want to show their skin, because that's a lot of people on the internet that are gonna just like see them nude, and that would feel weird, right? I mean, you gotta have balls to do OnlyFans. Not I would be pretty accurate on this, and not everybody's up for that, to put out their body just on the internet. Like that's a big risk you're taking there. That'd be terrifying for me. That's why I don't do it. Also, I don't have a good enough body to make money. That could also be a reason why you probably shouldn't do it, or you maybe have a little bit of second thoughts of doing an OnlyFans. You probably don't have a good enough body to make that much money. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, it's like I'm okay at basketball. I'm gonna try for the NBA. Yeah, good luck. Moving on though to a little bit of movie news. I haven't talked about this in a while, but I am super, super excited for December this year, because we will get to see Avatar 2. Not The Last Airbender. Not that trash. Even though I think it's a pretty good movie. Even though I've never seen it. But I like to say that because my friends liked the show as kids, when they were kids. And I like to mock them at every waking chance that I can. Like I'll say like, oh yeah, Avatar The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. That was a good movie, I hear. Or Dragon Ball Evolution. I heard that was a good movie as well. I just kind of like poke fun at the shit that they like. It's just what I do. But the title for the movie was released. Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, I'm wondering if it's going to be like a, like an underwater journey, like maybe Atlantis, maybe like Aquaman. I know that James Cameron has, I believe, gone the deepest of the deeps underneath the sea, under the sea. I'm not sure the exact depth, but he's gone pretty deep. And I'm curious if I feel like it is going to be a big inspiration of this film. He's also done movies like The Abyss, Titanic. I know that's not really deep, but it's, in water. But he's quite the fan of the aquatic realm. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I know that some people tend to hate on Avatar for being Avatar, And believe me, I was one of them. Like, I just didn't like it because it was about blue people in space, planet in Pandora, and fighting for a tree and stuff like that. It's a very silly story, but at the same time, it's kind of a familiar tale. Like it kind of like based off of like events that inspired films like Kevin Costner. What's it called? Not Raised by Wolves. What is the movie that I'm blanking on? But it's like a Native American tale that he was in, and I'm blanking on it. But it's like, kind of like Pocahontas, like the natives being threatened by the new people. And it's like, it's very, a very recognizable tale that translated, I think, pretty well, and that I think about it, into that movie. And great visuals, great characters, great acting, all stellar. And I think that, the sequel, I mean, even though it's been like, 2008, I believe, when it came in 2009, about 13 years, 14 years since it came out. It's well overdue. I can't wait to see it. It should be awesome. I really think that it's going to be cool. There's some concept art not leaked, but shared official concept art that's pretty cool. The title just got announced. I'm ready to see it. Truly am. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think that it's going to be the new Star Wars for like the winter window of movies. Like, there hasn't been a Star Wars movie come out since The Rise of Skywalker, and rightfully so. They've been trash. They don't deserve to have movies come out if they're going to be that trash. And I think that Disney, since Disney now owns 20th Century Fox and technically owns Avatar and owns James Cameron, they're kind of like, you know what, well, Star Wars was a cool thing, but we kind of fucked up and we messed it up, and now nobody likes it. So, hey, James, you want to release them in December? I know that they're kind of more summery movies, but I feel like, the winter, Christmas time is also a pretty big opportunity to make money. I mean, we just saw last year Spider-Man No Way Home make a ton of money in December. Like, I think that they're okay with that. Like, yeah, sure, put it there. Let's do it. I'm fine. I'm cool. But it's exciting. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited. Whenever James Cameron is behind things, I feel like he just knows what he's doing, and he knows how to approach things like this. Like I said, he's written, like, I think, multiple Avatar scripts already. Like, I think he's written, like, maybe the rest of the movies. He's like, he knows what's going to happen. He knows how it's going to play out. He knows what's going to be in each movie. Like, I totally trust this Avatar saga, and I'm ready to see it. Truly, I am. It's been a while. Are people going to come back to the theater and be like, oh, yeah, Avatar, yeah, I remember this. I miss this. I don't know. I'm not sure. I hope they do, though, and I hope it knocks it out of the park. We're supposed to be getting a first trailer, I believe, right before Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So that could be coming up pretty quickly. I mean, the movie does come out this December, so I would expect a trailer sooner rather than later. Moving on. Last but not least, we'll talk about sports. Kind of jump around a little bit, because it's been pretty exciting to be a sports fan, and pretty exciting to be a man who just loves to watch sports. It's I'm deep in the NBA playoffs now. Not deep, but it's still the first round for most teams. For most people, most teams still in the playoffs. It's been a nice run. It's been a lot of fun. But before I get to that, I kind of want to touch up on baseball a little bit, just real quick, just talk a little bit of baseball. I believe that this is the strongest, most in-depth Dodgers team that I've seen maybe in my entire life that I've been watching the Dodgers. I mean, we have a loaded team. Now, our record isn't, that great. I mean, No one's like undefeated. No one has like 2 losses. I think like the best record right now is San Francisco with 13-5, and then right behind them might be the Mets 14-6. But the Dodgers are 12-6, so we're not. I mean, we're not really that behind, but like it's been great to watch them. It's been great to watch baseball. A lot of things been happening. Bench has been clearing. Player drama. We just saw yesterday Nolan Arenado get into a fight with the Mets, and then that be an epic clash between the clubs. I mean, it's been awesome. It's been fun to see. There's something special about a brawl and a fight in baseball. Like it's kind of like it happens in hockey, it happens in football, but I feel like there's just something about when players go at it in baseball, because the sport in general is 1v1, right? Pitcher versus hitter is pretty much the bulk of the entire sport. You can get a lot of heated players and a lot of rivalries and a lot of tension built up within those within those innings in baseball. You got to get 3 outs. You got to pitch around the good hitter. The hitter's got to hit the good pitch off of the pretty good pitcher, right? There's a lot of things happening along with umpires calling balls and strikes, wild pitches like we just saw yesterday, again with the Cardinals and the Mets, and stuff like that. And it's just like a lot of built up tension, and it's not like tension that you, as the audience, the viewer, doesn't totally see it that well as the hitter or the pitcher does. It's just they see it in a totally, different view than we do. Like they know it by heart. They know where the strike zone is. Yes, we see it on the TV, or we can tell what's a ball and what's a strike. But if you're not actually there, like the hitter and the pitcher, you probably don't even know it as well as they do. In those little margins of between a ball and a strike, and then hits, foul balls, pop ups, and how easy it is for your batting average to go down, your confidence to go down, your form to go down. You can be hitting everything for a month straight. Everything that you see, home runs, doubles, triples, runners in scoring position, getting those in, playing well, and then you can go for an entire rest of the year in an absolute slump because something happened, you got injured, or you even forgot how to swing. A lot of people, a lot of players, if they're not amazing, if they're not playing right, they change up their swings a lot. And it's so bizarre to hear that because, you never think that a player who's been playing baseball, usually since that they were a little kid, would have to change their swing. But, that's what you get when you go to the Major League Baseball. When you have pitchers that could absolutely destroy the best hitters out there, destroy them and make them feel like, oh, whatever I'm doing and my approach is just not good anymore. I got to switch it all up. One of the prime examples I can give you is, since I'm a Dodgers fan, Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger was the Rookie of the Year for the National League, right? And same with Aaron Judge for the American League. Both Rookies of the Year in their respected leagues, National and American. They haven't really had that much success after that. They've had some pretty decent years, but not since their rookie years. I know that Bellinger has had to switch up his swings quite a bit, quite a few times actually. That kind of boggles my mind of just how many times that they switch up their swings. And I'm not sure about Judge, but I know that Bellinger has, and he's gone back and forth on certain swings, preparation, just the motion of his stance, changing up their stances. Whether it's being closer to the box or closer inside or maybe a little bit outside or maybe even forward in the box, it's just there's a lot of things and minor fixes that they have to do that take a lot of time to develop them. a lot of time to adjust and get that muscle memory just right so it feels as natural as possible, you know? Like, I remember back, this is not baseball, but Tim Tebow, for the longest time when he was in the NFL, did not throw the ball like how you were supposed to. Like, his windup and his release were just, they took too long. And when you're in the NFL, they want you to have like the perfect release, snappy release. Like, no matter what, you got to be able to get the ball out of your hands within like this many seconds. And he was always behind. And it led to turnovers and sacks and just like inaccurate balls and stuff like that. And just the motion of his throw and the time it took for him to cock it, wind up, and then throw it, just not up to NFL standards. Like, it always boggles my mind that Phillip Rivers was able to stay in the league for that long with the motion that he threw the ball. Like, if you go back, he's retired now, but if you go back and look up highlights of Phillip Rivers, you will see how bizarrely he throws the football. Like, it's nothing that I've seen any other quarterback do in my lifetime that I've been watching football. But the way he does it, the way he has done it pretty much his entire NFL career is bizarre. Now he was never shit on because of that, because he was decent enough to win games and have still a snappy release, but just the motion of his body was and his arm was just so bizarre to me. And he could still sling it like far, like he was a gunslinger, but like just the way he threw it was just weird. But it wasn't bad. It didn't hinder his ability. It was just weird and it looked funny. And I feel like, I guess like when it looks funny to you, the viewer, the fan, yeah, you'll be like, oh, that's weird. But to him, it's like, yeah, this is just how I throw it, and it's how I've been doing it forever, and it's worked. But yeah, a little bit back to baseball. A couple teams that have been surprising me. Dodgers, obviously, been looking really good, really solid against those mediocre teams like the Reds and the Diamondbacks, even, up to late, pretty good. The Padres have been okay to me, pretty average. Again, the Reds are 3-14, trash. The Marlins, the Nationals, both bad teams. Red Sox, pretty bad. Blue Jays, pretty good. Cubs, average. Braves, average. No one really in the American League that's kind of catching my eye. The Angels are 11-7. I mean, like, that's gonna last for maybe a little bit longer, but I just don't see that team, aside from Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, to be any good whatsoever. Giants are great. Mets are great. Cardinals are decent. But yeah, that's about it. Mariners are pretty good right now. 11-7 as well. Decent team. Philadelphia kind of sucks. Yankees are pretty good, but we'll see how long that lasts. They still have Aaron Boone as their manager, so we'll see how that shapes up. But yeah, we're solid. We have, like, in my eyes, in my bias eyes, we have the best lineup that I've ever seen in a long time. The best lineup between Betts, Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Freddie Freeman, Bellinger still. I mean, like, we are stacked and loaded. Now, the starting pitching is not the best we've had. Still waiting on Dustin May to come back, but when he comes back, hopefully he'll be even better. That guy was a workhorse. He could go like at least 7 innings every night that he pitched. So waiting on that to happen. That should be a good boost too, because Kershaw, Buehler, Urias, and then Dustin May, and then Tony Gonsolin still in there. It's going to be fun to watch. I know we lost Joe Kelly. That was sad. I would have loved to keep him. He was a great Dodger icon, even though he wasn't even there for that long. I just feel like he fit the culture and the fan base so well. Like, it's just he was loved and embraced, and he did the same thing to us. So it's like, I miss it. Now to the meat of the sports section, the NBA playoffs. Talk a little bit about that before I wrap up the show. I guess one of the biggest stories of the NBA playoffs have been that the Celtics swept the Brooklyn Nets. The Boston Celtics just swept the Nets in 4 games. And honestly, one of the biggest, the most disappointing series that I've ever seen. Now, I know that the Celtics started off pretty bad this year. Not the greatest, pretty average with the people that they have. A new coach, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all them boys, playing ball again. A couple years of them getting pretty close to the finals and just not getting there. I feel like within the past 2 years, the Celtics have really had a long but rough playoff run. And, that this year, I believe, is changing. Now, they haven't played in the second round yet, but just in this first round alone against the Nets, the absolute domination that team had on Brooklyn defensively just stopped everybody on that team. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Bruce Brown, everybody they just held them down. Now I know that the Nets were able to come back in pretty much every game. They pretty much, they would cut it down to pretty close, like maybe a 4 to 3 point lead in some, spurts, maybe even take the lead a couple times. But the fact that Boston's defense was that good and was so clutch and was able to come back and battle back and stop Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in every game that they played from taking over and winning any game, that's huge. That was incredible, because it's almost like Boston is like the most complete team from what I'm seeing. Even more complete than Miami, Milwaukee, Phoenix even. Like the Celtics just seem like the most complete team. Great offense, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and all those guys. And even Marcus Smart, on certain nights. And defensively, everybody can defend anybody. They shut down Kevin Durant. Like, Kevin Durant looks so lost, and he looked like he was like that. Every basket that he had to make was such a struggle, and even when he didn't make them, it was even worse, because you struggle so much and not get any points. And then meanwhile, the Celtics are coming back, after that, and just like scoring at ease. Like, everybody was just scoring at ease. It did not take much effort at all. It just blows my mind that how unmatched the Celtics were and how outcoached the Celtics were. Like, look, Steve Nash did what he had. He was trying different lineups between KD, Kyrie, Drummond, Griffin, Brown, all those guys. And I was surprised that even Blake Griffin got some playing time, because when he played, and he made some good shots, he made a lot of good shots, and he scored some points. But when he wasn't scoring, he looked like the most winded, most out-of-shape guy that I've seen in basketball in a while. Like, he did not look like he was enjoying that on the court. Like, he was just so exhausted. And it would have been like after maybe 3 minutes of checking in, like, he's already panting and just, like, dying on the court. It's insane. Like, it's crazy that how many people were on that team. Like, that you would call a super team. Like, I don't think you can even call the Nets a super team since Harden left. Like, you had KD, Kyrie, Bruce Brown, who was very good. You lost Joe Harris to injury. He would have definitely helped a lot, in terms of shooting and not in the perimeter. But, like, I don't think that you can be on a team with Drummond and Blake Griffin, even though that they're big NBA names, and be qualified for a super team. I just think that those guys are past their primes, getting older, no longer are starters in the league. Well, maybe Drummond is, but not Griffin. And be called a super team still. It's like the Lakers at the beginning of the season were called a super team, but as we quickly found out, they were far from that. They were a bad team with old geezers trying to be a super team, but miserably failing at that. But it's crazy. There's still a lot of games to play left. I know that Phoenix has lost Devin Booker, right? That was a big shock. Chris Paul pretty much has to lead the way from here on out. It's a hamstring injury for Booker. Those never go quietly. Like, those never get healed that quickly. And even if they do, they're very tender and very, very unpredictable after, just because of the nature of the muscle in the body and what that muscle has to do. And I just feel like he might be out for the entire rest of the playoffs, to be honest with you. Like they say like 2 to 3 weeks, but really that's just to kind of like settle people down to make it seem like he will come back. I truly don't believe he will. Those hamstrings, once you tweak them, man, you could be out for a couple months. So I've seen enough sports and enough basketball and other sports to know how serious the hamstrings are. They're not like serious, but they're very pesky. They just linger around. They never really heal unless you just stop and just rest. And in playoff time, to be honest with you, you're going to heal for like 2 to 3 weeks and go back to playing NBA basketball. I doubt that. Truly doubt that. Dallas, Utah, it's been an okay series. It's not been the greatest, but Luka being back, Luka Doncic being back, has made me want them to advance. Just because I just like how he plays and how he just how he is. I don't know. It's crazy. I think that the Jazz just really suck. They've been using this same team, the same like type of lineup for quite a while now. And I'm not saying that it's it's terrible. It's not. They're very talented, but those players are very talented and very good. But for some reason, like they never really like materialize in time to or show it in the big games when it really matters to move on in the playoffs and get truly far, like to the Western Conference Finals. Like it just never really pans out that well. And playing Denver, playing a couple games without Doncic, you would expect them to have more than one, or maybe it's pretty tight now. But I just feel like the momentum now is becoming more and more of Dallas's momentum. I got to talk about the Memphis and the Minnesota series real quick. That's been a very interesting series because it feels like those teams are pretty identical. Very young, a lot of talent. Maybe Memphis is a little bit younger, but very young teams, aspiring teams that want to become pinnacles of the Western Conference, but seem to make those same mistakes because they are young teams in the playoffs. So it feels like they're not even though that the Memphis is a second seed, it doesn't feel like they are a second seed because they play some pretty bad ball a lot of the times in those games, but then they come back and win, and it's all cool. But for like 3/4 of like every game that they played, they've been playing pretty bad basketball. And they've let Minnesota just, toy around with them, get big leads. And to the fact of that, counteract that, Minnesota blows every lead that they have. So, like, you get, like, two very young, naive, learning teams that have strengths and weaknesses, and both get exploited, like, pretty much every game. Every single game, it's the same thing. The Grizzlies start bad. The Minnesota finishes poorly and just can't hold on to win. So it's like the battle between the youngest teams. It's been good. It's been exciting games, a lot of drama, like a lot of good stuff. But it's like, dang. I mean, I did not expect that from a second seed Grizzlies team. I just say that it's never. A couple more series that don't really catch my attention. Miami beat Atlanta 4-1. Trae Young had a pretty bad performance this year. It's, considering he was in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Joel Embiid has been dealing with a thumb injury and has been letting Toronto back in these playoffs. I'm a big Joel Embiid guy. I think he's really funny and just a cool, really fun player to watch. I truly think that he's the best center in the game, and that's even with Nikola Jokic. I just think that Joel Embiid resembles Shaq the most out of anybody that's playing right now. Even Karl Anthony Towns. To me, Joel Embiid is strong, and Karl Anthony Towns is weak. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Karl Anthony Towns just plays very weak. Whereas Joel Embiid is like strong and a brooding force, just like Shaq was when he played. I love watching him play. Chicago, Milwaukee, these games haven't happened for me yet, but like I see Milwaukee winning easily. Honestly, Chicago got a pretty lucky win in Game 2, but since then it's been all Milwaukee. And Denver, Golden State, the Warriors are back, man. Like they got such good vibes and swagger. They play with a lot of energy. They're a lot of fun to watch still. They remind me of the 2014 Warriors, the three-peat Warrior, not three-peat, the three-time champion Warriors. Those guys. They're still very much those guys still on that team. They're just now older, and it's just like, dang, it's like they're trying to run it back again. Like I kind of want the Warriors to win it again. It would almost kind of feel like Jordan when he won it the first three-peat and then won the second three-peat. But it's nothing like that. But like it just feels like that because the players were so much younger back then, and now that they're older, still together, doing the same thing and winning games and being very dominant and very good at basketball. It's like this is fun to watch. Super fun to watch. That's going to be it. That's going to be it today, everybody. Thank you again for listening, and thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast and all of its episodes on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube, all at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. And don't forget to rate, review, leave a comment, subscribe, star it, do all that stuff. It does great works for the podcast. It helps out a lot. If you guys want to, send me a topic, give me an idea. My social media is in all the descriptions on all those platforms, so that's easy to find there. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.